Well, it's great to have on the settee now Ron Janes, who's a very old friend of the Wairoa GP network. In fact, you were in the network certainly as long as I've been involved with it, I think, haven't you?
About 92.
Yeah, 92 years. It's a long time to be involved.
1992.
It feels like it at times. You're doing well. Now then, you gave a session today on large integrated family healthcare centres as teaching units. So although we've only got a few minutes, can you in a very small nutshell just summarise what the point you're trying to get across?
Yes, I was talking about the benefits of being a teaching practice, and there's benefits to both the teacher, or what I like to call it, a learning facilitator, not so much a teacher, to the practice itself as being a learning centre, and also to the rural area. So just taking them one at a time, the benefits to the teacher is that it's quite stimulating to have young minds around asking questions, putting you on the spot. It keeps you up with your game. And it just makes it more interesting. You're contributing to the growth of the next generation, so that's a lot of fun stuff. There is a little bit of money attached to it, so there's that bit of a bonus. If you are an honorary senior lecturer for one of the universities, that may also bring funding in terms for yourself of taking courses at the university. So it links you into the university, you get access to the university library and other benefits. To your practice, the same things that are a benefit to the individual GP also flow onto the nurses. The nurses get asked questions, the nurses get to do a little bit of teaching, it makes it more stimulating, and even the receptionists. So everybody within the practice is helping with the learning.
We've talked about vertical and horizontal learning models in the past, and I suppose this lends itself to that, does it?
It does. If you can get yourself into a reasonable size practice, so one of the things we're trying to do locally is get into a 6-doctor practice from the 4 small practices we have at the moment. Then you have the capacity to be able to take on medical students as well as house surgeons as well as registrars, and basically have that vertical learning.
So is there a minimum size practice you can get away with this in, do you think?
Well, I'm a 1-doctor practice at the moment, and so the most I can really do is 1 learner at a time, but I'm still active and I still take trainee interns, house surgeons, registrars. Just at any one time I'll probably just have 1 of them with me.
Right, so a minimum of 1 is all right. Less than that, you've not got much to do.
Yeah,
that's fair enough too. So you would have had a very good population of people coming to look at you with your talk. What was the feedback from the audience when they were listening to you?
Well, it was partly didactic, but it was also partly interactional. So I divided them up into groups and got them to discuss what they thought were the benefits of being a teaching practice. And we had people there from the university, from the college, as well as teachers and so on. So they had they always like a good chin wag. So so that was good feedback. One of the issues that I think we identified is that there's a number of students now coming through medical schools, increased numbers, and we're also going to be having house surgeons coming out into general practice, and there's going to be a real capacity issue. So we really need practices, both urban and rural, to really step up and take learners and provide really positive learning environments for them. If we want to solve our workforce problem and get more people to choose our fantastic career as their future career.
We've discussed this in the previous sessions, really. There's almost a paradox there to a certain degree, that if we're going to expand our practices and have the facility to teach, we need to be guaranteed that those rooms are going to be occupied and likewise funded. Are we close to getting that, do you think? Are we?
I'm not sure. I can only talk for myself. When we moved into our integrated family health center, I've specifically chosen to have 6 rooms, even though I'm a 1-doctor practice. So I operate on a model that I work from 3 rooms, and I've got extra rooms for students specifically for that reason. So I'm looking ahead, and maybe I'm wearing a bit of the cost now, but I'm planning for the future that those rooms are going to get used.
That's fantastic. And certainly, again, we discussed this on different levels, that we're going to have too many doctors qualifying for places to a certain degree, and balancing that out, not enough GPs. And so, by the sound of things, your model is going to address both of those issues, I would have thought.
I'm certainly hopeful. We're trying to move to a model locally where we will be able to take on more students. So I mean, at the moment in a town of 6 GPs, we're only really taking 1 student in my practice. We're moving hopefully to a model where we'll be able to take 5 or 6 students at any one time. So we're really looking at trying to up that capacity to be able to teach.
That's fantastic, well done. And then likewise from the audience, so we always got that lovely phrase, what are we doing well and what could we do better? So what are we doing wrong? Now, is there any sort of right angle turns people are going to have to make?
I guess I think the heart of general practice is much better now than it was 10 years ago. I think we're much more positive, especially in rural general practice. And I think we need to get that positivity across, and the only way to do it is to have time with students. So the challenge is being able to take those students and give them really positive experiences of rural general practice.
Are we well funded enough to do that, do you think, at the moment? There was a comment from the floor, I think yesterday, that Australia are offering $200 per session, and I think
we can never compare ourselves to Australia unless we're going to somehow find gold and rubies like they have. I think we have to focus on what we do well, and we love rural general practice, and if we can get them out there, I know they'll love it too.
I couldn't agree more with you, as long as we don't go under and go bankrupt in the process. So are we adequately funded, do you think, at the moment, although, as you rightly say, we'll never quite get up to Australian levels?
I guess it's difficult for me to put a price on that, because I'm trying to solve a local workforce problem, so I'm looking at the cost in the long term. So I am getting a little bit of money, and to me, I think it's relatively reasonable. I've got the rooms for the students. If you don't have the rooms and you're looking at having to invest in rooms, then that's another separate issue, and that could be costly.
Oh, bless you. So you're thinking really far ahead in that case. You're seeing this as an investment for the future, so
Definitely.
the returns will come back.
Next 5 to 10 years.
Right. That's amazing forward planning. So well done. And you've just opened this new big integrated family healthcare centre.
Yes, it's an investment of $5 million, taxpayer money through the DHB.
If you say it quickly, it doesn't hurt quite so much, does it really?
Yeah, not quite. We're still working on trying to get an integrated model. We're still not there yet. We've basically just co-located services. We're not really doing too much different than we were before, and that's the challenge. Changing human behavior, I've discovered, is hard for everyone. We tend to think it's easy for patients until we have to change, and then suddenly we realize just how difficult that behavior change is.
You're not alone with that, are you? What roadblocks are you hitting as regards getting it integrated from co-located?
Basically, nobody wants to change. So when you go to the various siloed groups, be it general practice, district nursing, public health nursing, maternity, midwives, everybody says much the same thing. They say, oh, look, we really think this integration and innovation is absolutely wonderful, but we don't want to change. So you guys should. Look, we're just absolutely love to watch you do it, but we want to stay the same. And it's so when everybody says exactly the same thing, no progress gets made. So there's a Canadian economist who once said that the only time you can accomplish change is in two situations: when you've got the money to buy it, and when you've got the crisis. And there's no money, we've heard repeatedly, so we need a crisis.
Well, we'll do our best to create one in that case.
Oh, well, at the moment, I'm sort of the only college fellow in town now. We've got 4 locums and 1 GP who's been there for 4 years. So, I mean, the crisis is coming. I mean, you can see where we're going to fall off the cliff, but that still isn't enough to motivate people to change the model. So we may just have to wait for the crisis. I thought we could do it before the crisis, but it doesn't look like that.
No. Well, I wish you luck with your crisis in that case.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much thanks for spending this time, and you have the very best of luck.
Great, Buzz. Good to chat with you as always.
Likewise, as always. God bless you. Well done. Thank you.